Barakatayah, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Racha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is The Goal. And pretty much the goal is to make it to the finish line, to make it to the kingdom. And that's pretty much the ultimate goal. And that's what we're striving for in this walk, or that's what we should be striving for in this walk. Not every Israelite out there is striving for the same thing. Some are striving for vainglory. Some are striving for worldly things. Some are striving for a better life in this world, so on and so forth. But the ultimate goal should be the kingdom of heaven. That should be the major prize, that we're all fighting for. Like Yahushua said, he that endureth to the end, the same shall be saved. The Apostle Peter said, give diligence to make your calling and election sure. Election to what? To be delivered, to be saved, to go into the kingdom of heaven. Now, I looked up the word goal earlier, and I just want to read this off of the offline dictionary. And it says goal, noun, the state of affairs that a plan is intended to achieve, and that when achieved, terminates behavior intended to achieve it. Now that is a heavy definition. That is a very heavy definition. I'm going to read that again. Goal, noun, the state of affairs that a plan is intended to achieve, and that when achieved, terminates behavior intended to achieve it. So pretty much, the goal of the kingdom of heaven means that you're setting your mind and focus, directly on that mark, and no matter what, you won't deviate from that mark. And the only time you can stop the energy of moving towards that mark is when that goal has been achieved. That's when you no longer have to give that diligence. That's when we no longer have to give that diligence. Once we achieve that goal of salvation, then we no longer have to give that diligence. We no longer have to have that same attitude or mentality to get there, because we already got there. Once you cross the finish line, you're not still running. Once you cross the finish line, you already made it. So Matthew 6:22 says, the light of the body is the eye. If therefore thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. So pretty much that should be the goal at hand, the single eye mind state of achieving the kingdom of heaven. What I want to do is I want to go to that word single. In the actually in the Greek. Let me just let this fire up. Let me see. Matthew 6:22. So let's go to Matthew chapter 6 and verse 22. Let's look up the word single. The word single. Haplos or haplus. Simple, single, whole, good, fulfilling its office, sound of the eye. So the goal is to get to the kingdom of heaven, but the goal is to get to the kingdom of heaven whole, meaning sound. Now the scriptures speak about if that right eye offend thee, of that left hand, or your right hand offend thee, cut it off. That's dealing with individuals that you may be cool with. That could be your children, it could be your woman, it could be your family members, mother, father, whatever, that are hindering you from getting or achieving that goal. You got to cut them off. Now you'll be halt, you'll be maimed, but you'll make it to the kingdom, and eventually you'll see them again. Because if you try to hold on to them and they're not part of the elect, chances are you're going to be destroyed with them. But if you're a part of the elect, something, somehow, some way is going to sever you from that so that you can continue on that mission. All right. So the I being single, is the way to achieve the goal, the single eye goal of the kingdom of heaven. All right. So now let's go from there. Let's go to the same book of Matthew, the 6th chapter. And then let's just jump down to another point, and here that's a very, very poignant, which is the 33rd verse. It says, "But seek ye first the kingdom of the Most High, and His righteousness, and all these things shall be added. And all these things shall be added unto you." Because you have brothers, and sisters that sometimes have their priorities mixed up. They have the Most High somewhere in the background, So let's say if you have 5 major goals, the Most High might be 4 or 5. And then you have 1, 2, and 3, and possibly 4 ahead of that. Well, if that's your thinking or mentality, then your mindset is off. Because the first priority should be Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. That should be the very first priority. Everything else takes a back seat, to the Lord. Now, now brothers and sisters have to work, so I'm dealing with brothers specifically that do lessons and videos. So if you got to go to work and let's say the time crept up on you and you weren't able to do a lesson, then you go to the job. But in the meantime, when you're at the job, you're pretty much thinking about a lesson. Or you might do a little something on your break, or you might do a little something on your lunch break, and immediately after you get out of work, your first thing is what? Trying to get that lesson done. So the Most High, Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai, always takes the front seat, the first priority. So, but seek ye first the kingdom of the Most High and all His righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. What things? Everything else that comes with the benefit and the prize of achieving that goal. Let's read that word for goal again. I like the way that sounded. That was very poignant. So the word goal, which is a noun, it says the state of affairs that a plan is intended to achieve, and that when achieved, terminates behavior intended to achieve it. Right. So no longer, once the kingdom is here, we no longer have to give diligence as far as going out teaching. Once the kingdom is here, we don't have to, do any of the things that we're doing now, sacrificing our lives, sacrificing our time, or whatever the case may be to achieve the goal of salvation, because it would already be attained. So that behavior will be channeled into something else. All right. So now let's go from there to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, and verse 1. There's a couple of precepts that I wrote down, went through. So we're going to try to follow these precepts and get some points out on here, and the Lord's will, it'll be edifying. Ecclesiastes 3 and 1. To everything there is a season and a time. See? And the time right now, what time is it? It's kingdom time. The goal, which is the kingdom. To every purpose. So let's read that again. To everything there is a season and a time to every purpose under the heaven. So the season and the time is what? The season and the time for the kingdom of heaven. And what do we have to do? We have to give diligence. And diligence is what? Going out, teaching His word, doing the videos, doing the lessons, keeping your eye open, reporting on things that are going on around the world that pertain to prophecy, that pertain to bringing in, ushering in the end of this man's system, his kingdom, and the establishment of the kingdom of heaven. So now we jump to the 9th verse. It says, what profit hath he that worketh in that wherein he laboreth? So what profit hath he that worketh in that which he laboreth? He has much profit if he's working and laboring towards the goal of the kingdom of heaven. That's why Yahushua said, seek ye the kingdom of heaven first, and all these things shall be added unto thee. All right. Now, let's go from there to Ecclesiastes, the 8th chapter, same book. And let's read the 5th verse. It says, whoso keepeth the commandment shall fear no evil thing. Why? Because the time of Jacob's trouble is coming. And the ones that fulfill the Heavenly Father's wishes will be protected from the time of Jacob's trouble that's coming. And a wise man's heart discerneth both time and judgment. And if you can't see the times that we're living in, then there's something really wrong with you. If you can't see that these are the very ending times, the very end of the end, then there's something wrong with you. It says, because to every purpose there is time and judgment. Therefore the misery of man is great upon him. And that's why we're about to enter the time of Jacob's trouble. Because time and judgment and prophecies and the signs that we see are all pointing in that direction. And the kingdom of heaven cannot come until that great distress comes upon the nation of Israel. It says, when an enemy shall come in like a flood, the Spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. Because there's going to be some type of way that the Heavenly Father, Yahweh B'Shem Shai, is going to deliver his elect. He's going to save his elect. He's going to cause something to happen to break them free from this madness that Esau is bringing upon the whole world. Like Revelation 3:10, because you have kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon all the world to try them. Now let's go from there to the 9th chapter of Ecclesiastes in the 1st verse. And it says, for all this I considered in my heart, even to declare all this, that the righteous and the wise and their works are in the hand of the Most High. No man knoweth either love or hatred by all that is before them. So pretty much the works of the righteous and also the works of the wicked are in the Lord's hand, because the Lord said the deceived and the deceiver are his. So everything is in the hands of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. He controls everything. What his purpose is what stands. Whatever way he wants the pendulum to swing, that's the way it's going to swing. And there's going to be no other outcome but the outcome that the Lord prefers. So now we'll jump down to the 7th verse. It says, go thy way, eat thy bread with joy, and drink thy wine with a merry heart. For the Most High now accepteth thy works. So we're at the point now where the Lord is accepting our work. Our works, going back to when Yahweh Shai died on the cross, coming up into this time when the Lord woke us up through the men that taught before us. So now our works are acceptable before the Lord. At the times of our ignorance, the Lord winked at, but now he commanded everywhere, every man to repent. And that's talking about the Israelite men. It says, let thy garment be always white, and let thy head lack no ointment. Why? Because, let's go, what is that? Proverbs. Let's go here real quick. Just bear with me 1 second. This is Proverbs, the 16th chapter and the 21st verse. Nope, that's not it. Or is it 20? Just bear with me 1 second while I find this. Proverbs 21:20, that's what it was. It says, there is treasure to be desired and oil in the dwelling of the wise, but a foolish man spendeth it up. Right, so we go back to Ecclesiastes 9:8. It says, let thy garments be always white, and let thy heads lack no ointment, because a foolish man will spend it up, that oil, which the oil is this truth, this knowledge, the true and proper understanding of it. Which you have the 10 virgins, the 5 that were wise, and the 5 that were foolish. The 5 that were foolish didn't take any oil. That oil was spent. But the ones that were wise, they had the oil, because the oil, which is the eye salve, allows you to see, but they call clairvoyant, to be able to see, the Lord coming before he gets here. And that'll have your lights constantly burning until the Lord gets here. All right. Now let's go from there. Jump down to the 10th verse. It says, whatsoever thy hand findeth to do, do it with thy might. For there is no work, no device, nor knowledge, nor wisdom in the grave whither thou goest. Yeah, because this happens to all men, they die. When the kingdom of heaven is established, which we're coming quickly to, there will be no death. There will be people alive on the earth right now of the elect that will not taste of death, that will be translated from this old body here into the new bodies in the kingdom of heaven. Which what will happen will be a translation, such as happened to Enoch, such as happened to Elijah, such as happened, Yahushua actually went to the grave, but he was also translated when he came back from in the resurrection, from the grave. He actually was transferred up into the heavens. And that's what's going to happen to the elect of Yahweh Bashem Yahushua of the nation of Israel. They're going to be transferred to not see death. All right. Then it goes on to say, I returned and saw under the sun that the race is not to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, neither yet bread to the wise, nor yet riches to men of understanding. Yeah, because at the end of the day, the gifts all come from Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, and he distributes to each man, whatever, and sisters, that are going to be delivered, whatever that individual needs in order to achieve that goal. All right. And it's not given to the swift, because this is not a race. This is not a 100-yard dash or something, a quick race. This is a marathon type of race. It says, nor yet favor to men of skill, but time and chance happeneth to them all. Yeah, because we have the time and the chance. The scriptures say, many are called, but few are chosen. Give diligence to make your calling and election sure. So we're striving for the ultimate goal, which is to achieve the kingdom of heaven. So it says, for man also knoweth not his time, as the fishes that are taken in an evil net, and as the birds that are caught in the snare, so are the sons of men snared in an evil time, when it falleth suddenly upon them. Yeah, so this evil time that is coming is going to fall suddenly upon the whole earth. And the only ones that are going to be protected are going to be the ones that are of the elect, that are going to be able to have the foresight to see what's coming, and to be able to brace for what's coming. Knowledge and wisdom shall be the stability of thy times, the strength of salvation. 1 Thessalonians 5:4. But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. Ye are all children of the light and children of the day. We are not of the night nor of darkness. Therefore let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober. For they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night. Let us who are of the day be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for an helmet the hope of salvation. Because that's what we ultimately striving for, is a helmet or the hope of salvation. And that is maintained through the power of the Lord, which Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, which is his word, by the helmet of faith that is given by Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. These are instruments of this spiritual war that are given to the men and women of the elect to be able to withstand what's coming, to be able to be delivered. So now let's go from there to 1 Timothy the 4th chapter. This is book of First Timothy, the 4th chapter, and we're going to start at the 7th verse and read to the end. There's a lot of meat in this. First Timothy 4 and 7. But refuse profane and old wise fables, and exercise thyself rather unto godliness, because a part of the ultimate goal is what? Not to be deceived. You know? Remember, it says if it were possible, they should deceive the very elect. You know? So there's a... not only is there worldly temptations trying to take brothers and sisters out, but there are also, you know, deceptive doctrines out there that are being taught to sway the minds of the people. This is why the 144,000 is said of them that, you know, they were virgins. Why? Because they were not corrupted by the strange woman, which are the philosophies of this world. You know, and the closer we get to the end, the more and more the deceptions are going to ramp up. The more the stumbling blocks are going to be out there. So if you weren't privy to this prior to all of these deceptions and stumbling blocks coming out, it's going to be harder for individuals in this time to actually come into this thing, because there's so much information, disinformation, lies, deception, and all kind of stuff out there that's going to make the way and the path to the kingdom of heaven even more and more narrow. You know, and the ones now that haven't woke up before this whole shithole goes down, that do wake up, you know, would be considered to be really, truly blessed, you know, because, you know, in order to maneuver through the maze of these lies and deception to get to the truth is going to be very tricky, and only the Spirit of Yahweh B'Shem El Shai will be able to lead you there. You know? Remember, you had the parable of the penny. Those that came in at the first hour and those that came in at the 11th hour. And we're all going to receive a penny if we make it to the end. All right? So now it goes on to say, for bodily exercise profiteth little, but godliness, see, is profitable unto all things, having promise of the life that now is, and of that which is to come. Because most people they just for the here and now. They're not thinking about the kingdom of heaven. They're not thinking about, you know, the things that are coming later. They're thinking at the here and now. That's why it says that the love of the world is enmity with the Most High. You know, the lust of the eyes and all of that, because most people are not spiritual, and that's all they see. All they can witness is the things that are seen in this world. They don't have the spiritual eye salve to be able to see the things that are far off, which is the kingdom. We're not far off. The things that are near, but the things that are not seen. Like it says here in 2 Corinthians 4:18, while we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen, for the things which are seen are temporal. See, meaning temporary. But the things which are not seen are eternal. And that is the ultimate goal, which is the kingdom of heaven, to reach to the kingdom of heaven. So most people don't see that. That's why they have this mindset that they have. You know, and the mindset that they have is, you know, make good at what's here. You know, like they say, like they have that terminology, YOLO. You know, you only live once. And that's the mentality of most people. So live it up while you're here, you know, because once you die, that's it. Like they say, life's a bitch, then you die. That's why we get high, because you never know where you're going to go. You know, so that's pretty much the attitude of most people in this society, especially Jake. So now let's go back to the 9th verse. It says, this is a faithful saying and worthy of all acceptation. For therefore we both labor and suffer reproach. So we're laboring and suffer reproach because we trust in the living power. And this is why we go through the things we go through. This is why there's, you know, a constant, you know, a constant irritation in the spirit. And no matter what you do, whether you're going to the store, whether you're driving, whether you're trying to grab something to eat, whether the food is lousy, whether you're trying to teach the word and there's all type of distractions and disturbances, you know, it's a constant irritation from the demons of this world. And even these people, them demons jump on them to do certain things and say certain things that rub you the wrong way. But it's not them. It's them demons that's causing them to do that, to get up under our skin. So that's why we suffer reproach. Not only are we suffering and waiting, we're also suffering reproach for this word. And we're laboring. It says, because we trust in the living power, who is the Savior of all men, which are Israelite men, especially of those that believe. Because the ones that believe will do what? They'll be doing the work. Show me thy faith without thy works, and I will show you my faith by my works. Because faith without works is dead. It says, these things command and teach. See, so we're supposed to command and teach. We're supposed to exhort. We're supposed to admonish. We're supposed to push. It says, let no man despise thy youth, but be thou an example of the believers. And how we be examples of the believers? In word, in conversation, in charity, in spirit, in faith, in purity. So what? So that they can have outside of the scriptures, they can have an example on how to walk. Because they read it in the scriptures and they see, whoever their teacher may be, exhibiting that same behavior that they're telling you to walk in. So it says, till I come, give attendance to reading, to exhortation, to doctrine. Why? Because we have to constantly be connected to the things that are going on, to the prophecies of the scriptures. Because it's easy to be distracted, and we are to attend unto the Lord without distraction. Which is hard to do in this world, in this society, especially being in the flesh. But the Spirit will guide the elect, no matter what. It says, neglect not the gift that is in thee, which was given thee by prophecy, but the laying on of the hands of the presbytery, which are the elders. So don't forget that and don't neglect that. Because when you neglect something, meaning you don't mess with it, you don't touch it, you leave it alone. And a lot of these individuals that go out there and teach on the streets that don't want to come under any type of order, they're self-willed. And they act as if they're the ones that came up with the doctrine, and they go out there and teach. They'll grab stuff that they like. They'll still watch you. They'll talk shit. They'll watch the videos. They'll get all the information of the stuff that they like. And then the things that they don't like, get out of here, you goddamn bastard. The things that they don't like, they see, I'll tell you, Satan fuck with you. The things that they don't like, they discard and they added their own bullshit. That's talking about that's what the scriptures mean by someone that's self-willed. Ungrateful, unholy. Here it is, they had no clue or idea a few years ago that they were Israelites, and all of a sudden they're these great experts. But that's all right. Now, verse 15, meditate upon these things, give thyself wholly to them, that thy profiting may appear to all. Right, and it's going to be seen. That thy profiting may appear to all. Take heed unto thyself and unto the doctrine. Continue in them, for in doing this thou shalt both save thyself and them that hear thee. Yeah. So the thing is, look, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling. And those that you can help through the Spirit, help them out. And if they follow, like Apostle Paul said, be ye followers of me as I am of Yahushua, if they follow your examples, because you're following the examples of Yahushua, then they'll be delivered eventually. But if not, hey, don't worry about it. The ones that stray away, that fall away, that's the loss. But we'll still receive a reward if we continue firm unto the end. Because eventually in the kingdom, all Israel shall be saved. So don't try to break your back, to try to save someone, because you might be fighting a losing battle. That person might be someone that's going to be destroyed, and the Lord don't want them. And you're going to exhaust yourself trying to get them to see it when you could put your energy into something else, into teaching a lesson, and to teaching somebody else that's going to be worthy. Did not the Apostle Paul tell Timothy You know, the things that you hear, commit to other men, faithful men that will be able to teach others also. It's not that hard. All right, so now let's go from there. Let's go to the book of First Corinthians. And I get ready to get out of here because this place is starting to become irritating. Ecclesiastes, I'm sorry, not Ecclesiastes, First Corinthians 9:16. It says, "For though I preach the gospel, I have nothing to glory of, for necessity is laid upon me. Yea, woe is unto me if I preach not the gospel, for if I do this thing willingly, I have a reward." And that's what we all striving for, is that goal, the reward of the kingdom of heaven. But if against my will, a dispensation of the gospel is committed unto me. Yeah, because we all, everybody that woke up, the men that woke up, they're all responsible for what they heard. They are responsible for the talent that was given. You know? Now let's jump from there. We're going to just jump around. Oh, matter of fact, let me read the next verse. "What is my reward then? Verily, that when I preach the gospel, I may make the gospel of Yahweh without charge." Because once we hear it, we're responsible. We have a charge. And the charge is what? Look, this is what you got to do. You got to go out in the streets. You got to teach his word. You got to endure to the end, so on and so forth, blah, blah, blah. You know? It says that I abuse not my power in the gospel. And you have a lot of individuals out there that are abusing their power in the gospel because they got to a certain point, they taught a certain amount of years, and now they're just chilling, sitting back and letting the other men, the younger men coming in, do all the work. Where they just sit on their fat ass, getting fatter, you know, and doing nothing but running their mouth and talking shit and leading the congregation astray. There's no retirement in this thing. There's no old prophets' homes of retirement. We're almost at the end, man. The end is here. The end is manifest. It's time to put in that work. That's it. So now let's jump down to the 23rd verse. It says, "And this I do for the gospel's sake, that I might be partakers thereof with you." See? Because at the end of the day, work out your own salvation with fear and trembling, because he that endureth to the end, the same shall be saved, not he that endureth for a while. So know ye not that they which run in the race run all? Yeah. And what is the goal of somebody running in the race? To be the first one at the finish line. It says, "But one receiveth the prize, so run that you may obtain." So run. And what does it mean by run? Does it mean do laps around, you know, do your 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10 miles a day on the road? No. It's talking about doing this work. So run that you may obtain. Obtain what? The prize. What prize? The reward. What reward? The goal. What goal? The glory. What glory? The kingdom of heaven. And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Yeah. Meaning disciplined. Having to draw back from certain things, having to refrain from certain things, just like they do when they're training for whatever it is they're training for. Whether it's a boxing match, whether it's MMA match, whether it's racing, whether it's basketball, football, baseball, whatever. They have to show discipline, and the more discipline they show, the more the more effective they will be when it's time to perform. It says, "Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown." Yeah, because the corruptible crowns of this world are what? They're temporary. What happens to boxers? After a while, they have to retire because they get older, or somehow, some way, someone gets up in there and beats them. And what happens? That crown that they had, that they beat everybody else for, is stripped from them and given to somebody else. So it's a corruptible crown. It says, "But we," and incorruptible. But the crown that we're looking for is that incorruptible crown of the kingdom of heaven. Like the Apostle Paul said, there was a crown stored up for him. All right, so it says, "I therefore so run, not as uncertainly, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air." Yeah, because we're not shadow boxing in this thing. You know, when you shadow box, you ain't hitting nothing. You know, we're hitting demons with these precepts. And this is why the shit happens the way it happens, because they're upset and pissed off, because this is their time. This is the time of the world, you know, and we don't fit in this world. That's why people look at us strange. That's why they turn their face up, you know, when they hear this word, because they hate the light, because it's not given to them. So now let's go from there to Hebrews 6. I got a couple more precepts and close out and get the hell up out of here, man. This place is fucking vexing, man. All around vexing. You know, from the food you try to eat to the just everything in general just fucking irks you, man. Hebrews 6:10. For the Most High is not unrighteous to forget your work and labor of love. And the work and labor of love is what? To teach this word, to receive the prize. What did Peter and them ask the Lord? Lord, we gave up everything. What are we going to receive in return? You that had given everything, you shall receive 100-fold. So it's a quid pro quo, something for something. Because nothing from nothing leaves nothing. You got to done something for the motherfucker to punch you in the mouth. Inside joke. But it's the truth. Quid pro quo, something for something. And that's what we're doing. And I hope I didn't butcher the quid pro quo quote. You know? But that's what it is. It's something for something. All right? It says, which you have shown toward his name. And that's what we do. We've shown it towards his name. And that's why every chance we get, we exalt the names of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Begin with giving honor and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Some brothers end it giving glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Within the lesson itself, we give glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. It says, in that you have ministered to the saints and do minister. And a minister is what? A servant. And we are serving. We are being given plates, and we are handing out plates. We are given, you know, food that's stacked up, you know, on the table, and we're, through the Spirit, the Lord is making us grab the right things that need to be grabbed, you know, and handing it out. It says, and we desire that every one of you do show the same diligence to the full assurance of hope unto the end. Because there is no faltering. I guess they're doing a what you call it? Oh no, I thought they were in the water. Thought they were about to do a baptism. You know, so it's all to the full assurance, you know, unto the end. There's no faltering. That you be not slothful, but followers of them who through faith and patience inherit the promise. See, and that's what we're doing. We're following the examples of the scriptures, the examples of that we see in the full assurance to obtain this promise by patience. You see? It says, for when the Most High made promise to Abraham, because he could swear by no greater, he swore by himself, saying, surely blessing I will bless thee, and multiplying I will multiply thee. And so after he had patiently endured, he obtained the promise. Yeah, because eventually he got the promise. That's why it went from Abraham to Isaac to Jacob. And these are the people that will obtain that promise. And the Lord gave that promise back then. He gave those lands to our forefathers back then. Now what we have to do is wait till the kingdom of heaven is established to really get that inheritance back. For men verily swear by the greater, and an oath of confirmation is to them an end of all strife. Yeah, because once you accomplish your oath, that ends the strife. No one can bring up charges against you. No, well, you promised this, that, and other. You didn't do this. Once you fulfill that promise or that oath, that's it. No one can bring any charges to you. And the Lord is fulfilling that promise. Wherein the Most High willing more abundantly to show unto the heirs of promise the immutability of his counsel, confirmed it by an oath. Yeah, because the Most High doesn't change. That by two immutable things in which it was impossible for the Most High to lie, we might have a strong consolation who have fled for refuge to lay hold upon the hope that is set before us. So the strong consolation that the Lord gave us, we're fleeing to that consolation for refuge, which the consolation ultimately is Yahweh Shai. And we're fleeing to Yahweh Shai for refuge, for a place to protect us from the storm that's coming. To lay hold upon the hope set before us. And the hope set before us is what? The kingdom of heaven. It says, which hope we have as an anchor of the soul. Because many are being what? They're being yanked because they're not rooted in. They're not anchored in place. So they're being swept away by the winds of these different doctrines, by the waves of these different doctrines. Things come in, grab them and swoop them out because they're not anchored in. You know? They're not rooted in. It says both sure and steadfast, and which entereth into that within the veil. And what's within the veil? The presence of the Most High Yahweh. The veil, who's the veil? Yahweh Shai. That's why the temple, the veil at the temple rent with that earthquake after Yahweh Shai gave up the spirit. Because now that was a signification that the way into the holiest of holies, which is the Most High, is where it is open now through Yahweh Shai. Because that was the reason why the temple was set up in the first place. And you had the sanctuary, then you had the veil, and through the veil was the holiest of holies, which had the Ark of the Covenant. The Ark of the Covenant had the two cherubims, and between the two cherubims you had the mercy seat. And the mercy seat, that's where the Spirit of the Lord would appear. His presence would appear before the high priest once a year to give forgiveness to our forefathers for our sins. Now that doesn't have to be done anymore because Yahweh Shai already fulfilled that. That's why the way into the Heavenly Father now is made open through Yahweh Shai. That's why we don't have to sacrifice anymore. We become the sacrifice. Present your body as a living sacrifice. It says, whether the forerunner is for us entered, which is Yahweh Shai. Even Yahweh Shai made him high priest forever after the order of Melchizedek, because Yahweh Shai is the ultimate chief high priest. That's it. All right, now let's go from there to Luke. And this is all done in what? This is all done in patience. What is patience? Patience is suffering. You know, it's suffering to know that the kingdom of heaven is coming, but we're still here in this lousy place. You know? It's suffering to know somebody to blatantly disrespect you and you can't do nothing to them. You know, because we got to wait for the kingdom of heaven to be established, and disrespecting you for no apparent reason, but just because of the word. You know, that's annoying. So this is Luke 21:19. In your patience possess ye your souls. You see. Now let's go from there to James, the 5th chapter. And then after that, we got one more precept, and then we close out. All right, James chapter 5 and verse 7. It says, be patient, therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord. Behold, the husbandman waiteth for the precious fruit of the earth. And that takes patience, and hath long patience for it, until he receive the early and latter rain. Be ye also patient, establish your hearts, meaning your mind. That's why it says, I will give you passages which will feed you with knowledge and understanding, or knowledge and wisdom. Because that's going to be the stability of our times, the strength of salvation. So be ye also patient, establish your hearts, for the coming of the Lord draweth nigh. What is the Lord coming to do? He's coming to destroy these devils, destroy this world, and to recover his elect from the four corners of the earth, to bring them into the kingdom, to give them the reward of the kingdom of heaven. It says, grudge not one against another, brethren, lest you be condemned. Behold, the judge standeth before the door. Like the scriptures speak about devouring each other, you know, because you get so upset and angry, and you're so uptight, and there's no way to really vent, that you take it out on each other. You got to be careful. The scriptures say, lest you bite and devour one another. It says, take my brethren, the prophets who have spoken in the name of the Lord, for an example of suffering, affliction, and of patience, because they didn't receive the kingdom back then. They were actually put to death for the word of the Lord, but they committed their souls, they committed their spirit to the Lord, knowing that whatever the Lord said he would do, he would give to them. It says, verse 11, behold, we count them happy which endure, which means what? To be made hard. He that endure to the end, the same shall be saved. You have heard of the patience of Job, and have seen the end of the Lord, that the Lord is very pitiful and of tender mercy, because he actually gave Job everything back double. So that's an example for us in these times now, that everything that we lost, we're going to get it back, and even more. And it's going to be even greater, because what we're going to receive in the kingdom is not going to be tainted. What we had here that we lost was tainted. But even though it was tainted, the Lord still sees the sacrifice, and he's going to reward us. You know, if we are part of the elect and make it through, he's going to reward us with things that are untainted, things that are not corrupted. All right, now let's go from there to Luke. Actually, got two more precepts. Let's go to Luke 12. I'll read a couple of precepts there. I mean, a couple of verses there, precepts. Luke chapter 12, verse 29. It says, and seek not ye what you shall eat or what you shall drink, neither be ye of doubtful mind. For all these things do the nations of the world seek after, and your Father knoweth that you have need of these things. Yeah, so the Lord knows everything that we need. It says, but rather seek ye the kingdom of the Most High, and all these things shall be added unto you. Which we read in Matthew 6. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. And that's the ultimate goal. It's the Most High's good pleasure. Why? Because he promised Abraham. And his name is riding on that. It says, sell that you have and give alms. Provide yourselves bags which wax not old, a treasure in the heaven that faileth not, where no thief approacheth, neither moth corrupteth. Yeah, in other words, don't worry about your worldly possessions. You know, because the Lord eventually is going to give us that and more. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. So if your mind is all caught up into your riches and things that you own or have, you're not going to be focused on the goal, which is the kingdom of heaven. It says, let your loins be girded about and your lights burning. With what? With the oil that the Lord gave us, that eye salve. It says, and ye yourselves like unto men that wait for their Lord. And when one is waiting for their Lord, what are they waiting for their Lord for? So that the Lord can give them their reward. And the Lord can see the work that they've done, and he could say, well done, thou good and faithful servant. Because you did that what you were supposed to do, the Lord are going to give you a reward. But those that have been slacking off and have been hiding that talent in a napkin and ain't been doing what they're supposed to be doing with it, the Lord's going to come and destroy them. It says, when he will return from the wedding, and when he cometh and knocketh, they may open unto him immediately. See? Blessed are those servants whom the Lord, when he cometh, and shall find watching. Verily I say unto you, that he shall gird himself and make them to sit down to meat, and will come forth and serve them. That's something, boy. And if he shall come in the second watch, or come in the third watch, and find them so, blessed are those servants. Yeah, because they're not going to go to sleep, because they have the lamps trimmed. And this know, that if the good man of the house had known what hour the thief would come, he would have watched and not have suffered his house to be broken through. Be ye therefore ready also, for the Son of Man cometh at an hour when you think not. It says, then Peter said unto him, Lord, speakest thou this parable unto us, or even unto all? And the Lord said, Who then is that faithful and wise steward, whom his Lord shall make ruler over his household, to give them their portion of meat in due season? Blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing. Doing what? Doing his work. Occupied till I come. Of a truth I say unto you, that he will make him ruler over all that he hath. But if that servant say in his heart, my Lord delayeth his coming, and shall begin to beat the menservant and the maidens, and to eat and drink, and to be drunken, the Lord of that servant will come in a day when he looketh not for him, and at an hour when he is not aware, and will cut him asunder, and will appoint him his portion with the unbelievers. And it goes on to more. So I'm going to leave it there. The last precept I have is Philippians 3, and we're going to read from the 7th verse down. Try to read the whole thing. It's not that many verses. Philippians chapter 3, verse 7. It says, but that which thou... Damn, man. It says, but that which... but what things were gained to me, those I counted loss for Yahushua. Yeah, because he counted the cost, and he had a mission in mind, which is the goal. Yea, doubtless, and I count all things but lost for the excellency of the knowledge of Yahushua Hamashiach, my Lord, for whom I have suffered the loss of all things, and do count them but dung, that I may win Yahushua. Yeah, because this knowledge, this gospel, this doctrine is the actual ticket or the reservation to get into the chariots, to be able to receive deliverance. And part of the agreement in order to get that ticket or that reservation is you have to lose everything. You have to be willing to lose everything. Now, not everybody's going to walk down the same path, because some brothers are going to come into the truth with their wife and children and stay with them. But that's not going to be in every case. But you have to be resolved in your mind that, look, if that's the case, if that's what happens, then that's the sacrifice that I have to give in order to receive that salvation. It says, and be found in him, not having mine own righteousness, which is of the law, but that which is through the faith of Yahushua, the righteousness which is of the Most High by faith. Yeah, because at the end of the day, our righteousness is through the faith of Yahushua and the great sacrifice that he did. That I may know him and the power of his resurrection and the fellowship of his sufferings, being made conformable unto his death. And that's why we go through what we go through. The servant is not greater than his master. It says, Now, well, you know what? That's between you and your husband. I believe that's a sister. Honestly, we like the elder put on it. We're not marriage counselors. You have a problem with your husband or whatever the case is, you got to take it up with them. Scripture say, no man knoweth the way between a man and his maid. You have to sit down and talk to that man, and and y'all have to iron it out between y'all. Because at the end of the day, you're gonna have to live with each other or live without each other. However it's gonna go. And no matter what somebody can tell you as far as counsel is concerned, if the counsel turns out to be bad counsel, then you're going to be looking at that person mad, but you should be mad at yourself, for not being able to sit down and have the counsel between you and your husband. You see? So it says, if by any means I might attain unto the resurrection of the dead, which is what? The deliverance at the end. Not as though I had already attained. And this is the point. See, some guys act like they're already in the kingdom. That's why they comfortable in how they living. They got to a certain point and they got into a comfort zone. They got money coming in. They got a certain prestige. They got an acknowledgement. They got a name. Among Israel. They got a certain status. So they kind of settle in. So they're doing their own thing. They're not doing the will of the Lord. They're fulfilling their own belly. It says, not as though I had already attained. See, we haven't attained the goal yet. We haven't attained the kingdom of heaven yet. We haven't attained salvation yet. Either we're already perfect and we haven't been perfected except for in the knowledge. But I follow after, if that I may apprehend that for which also I am apprehended of Yahushua. So we're apprehended. We're prisoners, because when you apprehend somebody, you mean pretty much you're in prison. So we're prisoners, or we're apprehended, in Yahushua, until we apprehend or get hold of the kingdom of heaven. And that is our ultimate goal. The ultimate goal. It says, but I follow after that, that if that I may apprehend that for which I am apprehended of Yahushua HaMashiach. Brethren, I count not myself to have apprehended. We didn't get it yet. But this one thing I do, forgetting those things which are behind and reaching forth unto those things which are before. So the life that we left behind, leave that behind. The things that we did in the past is in the past. What counts is what we do now. The here and now. That's what counts. Not what we did in the past, what we do now. You know, because once again, he that endureth to the end, the same shall be saved. I press toward the mark. What's the mark? The kingdom of heaven. For the prize of the high calling. See? Of the Most High in Yahushua. So there's a mark. And that mark is what? The goal. That finish line. Salvation. It says, let us therefore, as many as be perfect, be thus minded. And if in anything ye be otherwise minded, the Most High shall reveal even this unto you. See? So whatever it is that we need, and if we're going on the wrong path, the Lord is going to make sure that we are steered right in the right direction if we are part of the elect. It says, nevertheless, whereto we have already attained, the things that we already have apprehended under our grasp through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, let us walk by the same rule, let us mind the same thing. So it says, brethren, be followers together of me, and mark them which walk so as you have us for an example. For many walk, of whom I have told you often, see, and now tell you, even weeping, that they are the enemies of the cross of Yahushua. So they are enemies because they're serving their own belly. They're not serving the Lord. It says, whose end is destruction, whose power is their belly, and whose glory is in their shame, who mind earthly things. See? So it says, for our conversation or citizenship is in heaven, excuse me, from whence also we look for the Savior, the Lord Yahushua HaMashiach, who shall change our vile body, that it may be fashioned like unto his glorious body, according to the working whereby he is able even to subdue all things unto himself. So that's the ultimate, is to, you know, fight in this fight of the truth in order to receive salvation, which is the ultimate goal, which is the kingdom of heaven. Once again, the definition for goal is the state of affairs that a plan is intended to achieve, and that, when achieved, terminates behavior intended to achieve it. Because once we get to the finish line, we no longer have to sacrifice. We no longer have to give diligence, you know, to make our calling and election sure, because we would have already attained it, or we would have already apprehended it. And that is the point. The point is given that diligence to attain the goal, achieve that goal, and once the goal is achieved, then we receive the salvation, and we no longer have to, you know, put in, you know, go out on the streets prophesying, you know, giving diligence, suffering, you know, for the kingdom of heaven, because we have received it. Just like those that train, you know, for whatever event they're training for, and they put their whole heart and soul into that training, when you get to the actual, you know, exhibit, you know, or the actual, you know, situation that they're fighting for, their performance will show that they trained hard. And they'll win. They'll for more than likely they'll win the prize, you know, because that's their ultimate goal. But they do it to receive a corruptible crown, and we do it to receive an incorruptible crown. So with that, you know, this has been the goal, which is the kingdom of heaven. You know, I pray that all brothers and sisters are fighting for that. You know, so with that, I pray that your brothers have been edified, and you few sisters. To the next time I say, Shalom.